With secondary market ticket prices soaring into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, this semifinal is the most heavily capitalized sporting event of the year. The tension driving that price tag goes back decades. When England and Argentina meet on the world stage, they carry intense geopolitical friction and the lingering ghost of 1986, a history defined by the hand of God and deep, unresolved rivalries. Now, Lionel Messi steps into this exact crucible. Entering his final international tournament, he carries the weight of those historical expectations against the very nation that defines Argentina's oldest footballing grudge. For England, this match isn't played in a vacuum. Every tactical decision is filtered through that historical lens, creating a high-stakes environment where a single defensive lapse can be magnified into a national disaster. Look at the current English squad. Led by superstars like Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane, they arrived at this semifinal heavily favored by the media, carrying an aura of absolute invincibility. Argentina survived by grinding out deeply unconvincing results. They barely scraped past Egypt and had to drag Switzerland through grueling, ugly football just to stay alive. In elite competition, public perception dictates the level of internal stress. Because Argentina played poorly in the group stages, the global media has largely written them off, lowering the external demand for tactical perfection. This lack of expectation acts as a relief valve. While England must protect their status as favorites, Argentina's perceived failures allow them to take tactical risks and play with an aggressive edge that a team terrified of mistakes simply cannot replicate. To see how psychological imbalance breaks a team on the pitch, we look at France earlier in this tournament. The French media and coaching staff developed an intense, consuming obsession with neutralizing a single Spanish player, teenage prodigy Lamine Yamal. This diagram illustrates the panic button. When a team is terrified of one threat, they abandon their foundational defensive structure to swarm a single point. Against Spain, France's rigid defense collapsed to suffocate Yamal, allowing Spain to immediately exploit massive gaps on the wings. Yamal's threat was specific to his pace and dribbling. Messi's influence is broader. He dictates tempo and handles every set piece. If the English swarming response is even slightly delayed, the structural collapse across their defensive line will be far more severe. Right now, the British press is running that same playbook, hyperfixating entirely on how to stop Lionel Messi. This obsession aligns perfectly with a sudden hole in Argentina's lineup. Rodrigo De Paul, Messi's primary midfield supply chain, is out of the match. Without his key midfielder, manager Lionel Scaloni has to entirely rewrite his playbook, turning a severe roster deficit into a lethal attacking trap. Here, Scaloni abandons his traditional low block, building a new, asymmetrical wide attacking shape loaded with forwards. At the center is the gravitational decoy. Scaloni drops Messi deep into the midfield. Knowing England's paranoia, Messi drags the English markers entirely out of their defensive zones. As the English defense collapses inward to trap the legend, they leave massive structural voids entirely exposed behind them. Secondary attackers like Alvarez and Lautaro are suddenly left completely isolated and unmarked on the flanks. Scaloni isn't trying to hide his star player. He actively weaponizes England's hyperfixation on Messi to rip the back doors of their defense wide open. This tactical trap is amplified by intense emotional stakes. We are watching the final minutes of a 2-decade-long international career. Even a player known for walking the pitch transforms under this kind of absolute finality, pushing past physical exhaustion to secure a lasting legacy. Combine that desperate motivation with Scaloni's gravitational decoy, and England faces an impossible choice: ignore the greatest player of a generation in his final match, or swarm him and let his teammates run free toward the goal. Success at this level requires identifying an opponent's psychological pressure points. By weaponizing England's fear of a single player, Scaloni aims to turn their defensive focus into their greatest vulnerability.